I love trees. I'm actually an arboriculturist, which means I'm a professional in trees. I've been one of the #1 specialists since I was a kid. Did you know trees protect themselves by attracting the enemies of their own enemies? It's all very clever, really. For example, acacia trees, they attract ants to protect themselves from other insects. And the ants even contribute to the nutrition of the acacia by excreting the nitrogen they need to absorb. Now, I don't actually like trees that much. I'm not actually an arboriculturist. I didn't know that was a word before last week, and that fact was taken off the first website I saw called 10 Fun Facts About Trees. I don't condone lying. That was just for a bit of fun. But notice the terminology I used while I was saying it. It wasn't too vague, but it wasn't too arrogant either. Notice my face, my posture, my breath, my commitment to the role. With that attitude, I very well could have been a professional tree expert to those of you who are watching me speak for the first time. And that's the thing with confidence and charisma. My old school had a motto that we all made fun of: if you can believe it, you can achieve it. I prefer something else, and it said in many ways, the law of attraction, the law of assumption, manifesting, dressing for the job you want, not the job you have. I like calling it fake it till you make it. Faking confidence, meaning pretending, acting, practicing, until it becomes real, until you've made it, until it becomes something that's a second nature to you. And it's not about adopting a persona or a lie, like I just did, to simply fit in, and it's not about copying someone else's work for a good grade. I mean belief, not deceit. I should believe I can get the skill, act like I already have the skill, dedicate myself to getting the skill. It's about confidence and charisma. I've seen the importance it's had in me, around me. I'm in year 13 right now. It's the time for university applications. Me and my friends are going through our interviews, soon to be job interviews, soon to be presentations, soon to be speeches, all places where we need confidence to shine. I've needed it since I was little. You know, as a child, I was one of the only people of color in my school. I didn't exactly felt like I fit in. It didn't feel like my accent or my features fit in. And I had to work to get myself heard, to embrace myself. And that was by pretending I was comfortable with who I was until it became more natural. And let me tell you, talking to this many people right now needs a lot of confidence and charisma so I don't lose your attention. Now, I have a question to pose to you all. If a tree falls in a forest and there's nobody around, does it make a sound? It's one of my favorite philosophical questions because I think surely yes, it should. But you can't see the tree, you can't feel the tree, you can't smell the tree, you certainly can't hear it, so how would you know it makes a sound? It makes me question, are the observed and the unobserved the same? Do they have the same outcome? Can the unperceived even exist? I mean, is Schrodinger's cat in the box even really there? That's going off on a bit of a tangent, but if you answer yes, the tree makes a sound, then you're answering with a sort of objectivity that the sound exists no matter what, despite your own perception of it, despite your judgment. The tree makes an impact that creates sound waves, however you want to describe it. I like to think that this view can reflect nicely on confidence, that confidence exists no matter what, despite our own perception of it, despite our own judgment. We just have to find ways to bring it out. And you're probably wondering why I yawned at the beginning. It's not because I'm bored. See, we associate yawning with boredom, when in actuality we shouldn't, because when a lion yawns, we don't think it's bored, we think it's powerful. When a fish yawns, yes, fish yawn, it's been observed that they're doing it because they're preparing for a fight. So although science doesn't know why we yawn for definite, it could be because we're preparing for an activity. So next time you're in a bit of doubt, give a mammoth cave yawn because it can release tension in your jaw, increase the blood flow to your brain, cool it down, lets you take a nice deep breath, and you feel much more prepared for whatever you're about to do. Another easy way is listening to the right music. I know I love my music because it's mine, it's no one else's taste. It's something that's deeply linked to our unique sense of identity. And matching a genre and a tempo with a task at hand, you'll feel much more pumped and less distracted with whatever is happening. So for me, it's going to the gym. I hate it because I feel like everyone is looking at me. They know that I secretly don't know what I'm doing, and I don't like how I am. So I put on the Rocky theme tune. It gets me feeling pumped, and I can do whatever it is I'm about to do. What was interesting about the study that proved this is that there were two groups. They were both told to listen to music, but only one group was told to try and feel more happy and confident. And both ended up feeling more happy, more confident, but the one that was told to try felt even more so, going to show that having the right and positive motivation behind what we do can make just enough difference. And finally, I think we've all heard that fake smiling can turn into a real smile, a legitimate smile, and help us in so many ways. It can reduce your blood pressure, lower your stress, lower your heart rate, boost your immunity system, and of course, better your confidence. And it also helps with your warmth, with the people around you. It brings out your charisma. It seems a bit too good to be true, but sometimes it's just the little things that can help. And that combined with power posing, power posing for just 2 minutes has been proved by Harvard that it can reduce your cortisol and increase your testosterone. Less stress, more dominance. And a simple pose that didn't make you feel too silly is just simply leaning over a desk like this. But these are not the be-all and the end-all. I wish smiling could fix all of my problems. Practicing and working hard does not go out the window with these tips. These are just a few tricks to show you that confidence can be brought out. Let's go back to the forest. The tree has fallen, no one is there. Has it made a sound? Well, what if we answered no? The tree cannot make a sound because nobody was there to hear it. We can never be sure if there was. The sound only exists depending on our perception of it. And confidence can be said to be the same. Nobody knows if we truly feel confident. It just depends on how we present it and how others perceive it. Nobody knows if the confidence we're perpetuating is real or fake. If you can't tell by now, I love a good catchphrase. What fires together, wires together. Basically, it's known as the Hebrew principle. When you do anything, there's always neural circuitry firing up in your brain. And when you do something linked to something else, a sort of wire is formed. So, for example, when you're doing a presentation, you're forcing yourself to answer the phone, or just looking at yourself in the mirror, that confidence you're forcing yourself to go with it starts to develop and become more real because your brain begins to blur the lines. And something that can help us with this, an important tool, is our voice and our choice of words. It's not about being brash and arrogant, it's about gaining respect. Because if I think I know what I was talking about, but then I go really quiet and I start talking really fast, and then I put my hand to my mouth because I forgot what I was going to say. And then, I think I was going to say this. Or maybe I'm really desperate to show everyone how confident I am, and then I realize I'm actually driving people away. That might be what's going through my head, but if I spoke slowly, with pride in my words, and a downturn at the end, I can leave a pause if I still forget what I was going to say. And I won't leave any filler words. See, this is one of the moments where I need to fake it till I make it so I can remember exactly what I was going to say next. Because our body can sometimes say more, can sometimes influence people more than our words. And I don't mean how good you look, I mean your body language. And I've seen other great TED Talks speak brilliantly about this, about making yourself wide and powerful. And that's a big step too far with dominance. But I just want to talk about feeling more comfortable with yourself. I was introduced into theater as a kid. I loved it. It's not for everyone, but it gave me an opportunity to play a character that was more loud and more confident than myself. And during that time, I used to walk around like this everywhere, covering myself, until I met my drama teacher, who everyone would respect because she used to walk around with a very powerful walk. And I soon began adopting this character into my everyday life. Not a character that was completely different to who I was, but a character that still had my personality, but 10 times more, until I became more comfortable with it, until I started developing it into it becoming more natural. And that takes a while. It's easier said than done, but it can be started by just simply trying not to walk like this anymore. Practice keeping your arms down and practice keeping it open, because what's the worst that can happen? Creating a presence for yourself can help extremely with your charisma. I don't mean announcing your presence when you enter a room, but simply saying hello, taking your hands out of your pockets, giving a firm handshake. It shows that you're ready, even if you don't feel it. And finally, be proud of your accomplishments, because they're never too small. And when you think back to how you felt in that moment, if you felt proud, it can carry on over and help you feel much more prepared. In one of my favorite TV shows, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Terry says that practicing your communication and confidence and keeping their attention after you've taken a drink is when you've made it. Like I said, it's wrong to make fake it till you make it synonymous with arrogance and lying. It's about presenting what you have, not what you don't. It's about wanting to change yourself on the inside rather than change what other people think about you. The Journal of Consumer Research has proven that people who try to prove themselves, try to prove their worth, their success, have had it backfire. And even children can tell when your confidence is credible. So maybe don't go around telling people you're a specialist in trees when you're not. That's why I'd like to talk about when this motto doesn't work, or rather the right ways to apply it. In one of my favorite musicals, Dear Evan Hansen, there's the lyric, "If you're falling in a forest and there's no one around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound?" It's about mental health, how people feel invalidated, alone. And I understand I've talked a lot about faking a smile, but that's not what all of confidence is about. It's not about pretending everything's okay. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is asking for not just what we want, but what we need, asking for help. And it could be as simple as me and my best friend arguing about who's going to ask the waiter for some tap water. Faking confidence is different because you're trying to achieve confidence, but faking your happiness and faking that everything's okay will not achieve everything being okay. And sometimes we get so comfortable behind the mask. It's when we need confidence to be able to put it down. And it's hard, it's extremely hard, but it's not impossible. Even if you're feeling like the tree, that you can't make a sound, you can. Be patient with those who don't get it, because they probably never will. Also be patient with people like me telling you to fake it till you make it, because sometimes you can't, and that's okay. You're allowed to feel however you want to feel. You're allowed to take care of yourself. You're allowed to decide whatever you want about the tree. You're allowed to even outright reject this philosophy I'm telling you and say no to whatever you want to say no to. Because when a tree falls in a forest, no one actually knows what happened. No one knows what they're doing. And I promise you, the majority of people are faking it. Thank you.